Hello YouTube, Arrow Assassin here today, and welcome back to another video on, this time, Windwalker Guide for PvP. This was requested, and to be honest, I enjoy my monk. It's probably one of my most favorite tunes right now, and so let's just get right into it. First up is the talents. So, first row, Chi Burst, Eye of the Tiger, and Chi Wave. Eye of the Tiger, I picked this because it's the dot, has nature damage, and it heals the monk for a little bit. Most importantly, I just do it for the dot, and that's the most important reason, because if I get a dot on, say, a rogue, a druid, anything that can stealth, hunter with camouflage, it'll come right off, and that'll give me the extra chance to get them into combat again so they can't escape, unless they're a rogue that can vanish, of course, but you guys know what I mean. That's basically why I picked it in this row. I've seen some people mention Chi Wave. I think it does okay, but overall, I just definitely prefer Eye of the Tiger for, like I said, the dot, and that's the most important thing. Next row, Tiger's Lust, and that is mostly for the speed and to get out of the snare. So if you're snared by a druid or slowed down and you're running a flag, Tiger's Lust will just definitely help you. There's not really much else to say about it. Tiger's Lust is just an extra speed to get out of snares or slows. Like I said, it's just overall probably the best talent in the row. So, Chi Torpedo can actually be kind of useful as well, but overall, 99% of the time you should always go Tiger's Lust. Well, I would say 100%, but you never know. Some people like different things. Tiger's Lust is just always, in my opinion, going to be better. Next row. This is going to be... I use Power Strikes. I don't think it's obviously the best. I'm saying that as directly. I don't think it's personally probably the best. Energizing Elixir, I think, is always going to be the best in this row. And that's just simply because you'll get your energy back and you'll also get some chi to like Fist of Fury stuff. I use this just strictly for my rotation. Every 15 seconds you'll get extra chi, Tiger's Palm chi. And the reason why that is because that way I can like instantly Rising Sun Kick or something like, I don't know. I can instantly Rising Sun Kick anyways. I don't really remember why I picked this, but ever since I picked it, it's always become my favorite. But if you're not really into that, I highly suggest you use Energizing Elixir more because I feel like it's more stronger. Ascension is not bad as well. I've used all three of these, but like I said, Power Strikes has been my favorite. And if I'm not using Power Strikes, I would go Energizing Elixir, because that'll give you all your chi and all that stuff back. Next row is between Ring of Peace or Leg Sweep. And it's a tough choice, because Leg Sweep is part of your like CC, so it's kind of hard to play without it, but the only time I would recommend Ring of Peace is to block tunnels in Warsong Gulch, knock people off the towers like you saw in my other video. If you position it right, you can knock people off in Aretha Basin. You can block people off flags. Those are about the only times I would recommend Ring of Peace. It's a little bit tougher to play without it, in my opinion. I do enjoy Ring of Peace. It's definitely really strong. But overall, I recommend Leg Sweep just for the extra CC, and you can get people 100 to 0 sometimes in those stuns. Next row, Healing Elixirs. It's just really strong. I recommend playing with it over anything else in this row, just solely due to the fact the healing is really nice with your mobility. Next row, I go with Hit Combo because it increases the extra damage and it stacks up. Some people run with Invoke or whatever it is, Exhume the White Tiger, which it's really nice. He does last a very long time, 45 seconds. And I think he can get people out of stealth. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure 99% sure he can. The only reason why I don't use him is because he does have a long cooldown. But both of these are essentially pretty good. And it's really all I got to say about that. Final row, all of these I feel like I've seen a lot of monks use different stuff. It depends, I feel like, on their playstyle. Some monks use Storm, Earth, and Fire. I don't really like Storm, Earth, and Fire, so I pick Serenity because Serenity's burst is insane if you just go on full on ham mode, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. Rolling Dragon Punch is actually pretty dang good as well. I actually kind of like it. But I just, it's one of those things, like, it really, like I said, it depends on your playstyle. So if you want to use Rolling Dragon Punch or Chi Orbit, you can, obviously. But Serenity, in my opinion, I highly recommend. 10 out of 10. It's just insane burst with all your cooldowns. And depending on your race, if you're Orc, add that to your racial, oracle, whatever. I know I can't pronounce stuff. I'm sorry. It's just how I am. And yeah. So let's go over the Undertalents next. If you're Orc, a lot of them run Relentless, but I just can't personally play without a trinket, so I use that. I like the reinforced armor for the health increase, but hardness is not too bad as well. Or sparring for against melee, but overall the health increase I just always find nice, and is why I picked that. I've always kind of like hardness too, but like I said, probably more for battlegrounds and world PvP and stuff. I think reinforced armor might be better. Next row, I always pick Yulon's Gift just because Flying Serpent Kick will also now dispel all the snares when you're affected by them. So that way you have less slows on you, you can get away easier. I feel like that's probably the mandatory talent in that row. It's just always going to be better. Fuse pretty much sucks ball sacks basically, and it barely heals for anything in PvP, I feel like, anymore. So I don't pick Control of the Mist. Zen Moments. I never really could get really into that talent. Fortifying Brew is just the way to go, in my opinion. I feel like it's another kind of like the mandatory talent. And it's just another defensive cooldown outside of Karma. So when you use your Karma, you have another way of defending yourself against casters, melee, stuff like that. And that's pretty much it for that row. Next row, Tiger Style. Disabling Reach isn't too bad as well. I would probably pick between these two. The reason why I picked Tiger Style, and I don't see a lot of monks do this. I don't know if they're not running it or not. I feel like this is probably the best talent in the row. What it does is you're allowed to control the winds, like you're allowed to control which way you go when using Flying Serpent Kick. And this is why I love this talent. You could choose which way you go, and if you use it right, you can get that extra speed or up forward. How do I put it? For example, in Warsong Glitch, you're above the Horde roof, not in their base, but like you're above the Horde tunnel, and you know those spikes. I'm using this as an example, but there's the spikes, and you're following this demon hunter. He jumped over the spikes, and there's nowhere to go. So you go all the way around. He's just like taunting you or something, and he's just standing there, just messing with you. Obviously, he wouldn't do that, but I'm just giving an example. And then he decided. Actually, I'm gonna put this better. I'm sorry. It's just so difficult to explain. So, for example, you're over the other side of the thorns, like you're above the Horde tunnel, and you see a droid grab the flag, and you want to go catch him. So what I do is I Flying Serpent Kick and get this nice little height, and you jump over the littlest stuff. It's really, really awesome, in my opinion. Now I just think I screwed myself for showing you that, but I can just mount up and do that. So it's really awesome. That's kind of like probably the worst example to show you guys, or well, tell you guys. But overall, that's kind of why I like this talent. I'm going to show it to you guys maybe one more time real quick. See if I can get out here, maybe get a longer time to deal with it. So see if it only works with the PvP talent, so I gotta get PvP combat. So again, one more time, it basically controls the winds, and what you want to do is you want to get that extra jump, and you can land farther. Unfortunately, there's probably like not really many ways to show you guys this, but if you guys want to watch my monk videos, I'm sure I've done that a lot. So it's essentially what the talent does. Next row, I pick Heavy-Handed Strikes. It's because you want to knock people down into their stun, and you get basically a full on burst on the target. So, and that is basically all the talents and honor talents, guys. And now I'm just going to share with you guys my rotation. It's hopefully it will be pretty simple. So it really kind of depends. I try. It really you have to be like really psychic about this. The whole touch of death is a little bit tougher to explain because like most of the time I feel like I kill my targets or the person I put it on dies too fast and touch of death never goes off or it's pretty much useless. So I try to essentially save it for a situation like maybe a rogue. 100% I sure use on a rogue, a tank. I always use on tanks. I would always use it on healers and probably warlocks. The rest of them, I feel like the rest of the classes, I feel like they essentially die too fast. Well, actually, paladins, I would probably save it for actually. It depends on the paladin. If you think you can get it, use it on the paladin. Like, here's how I fight paladins. I'll use paladins as an example because paladins are a pain in the butt. What I want to do, for example, for a paladin, I will touch death him at the start. I will save my burst as much as I can because he's gonna have land hands, 2 bubbles, and because of Forbidden's being on the freaking lowest cooldown ever, you want to make sure, because he's 99% of the paladins always run auto bubble. You want to make him use bubble. And most of the time, they will use bubble after the touch of death, and you just get them down a little bit. And then you want to kite them, obviously, when they're bubbled and stuff. Once the bubble is down, you want to immediately hard on go burst, like just full on freaking rotation wise. You want to pop Serenity if you're running it, Strike of Wind, Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury, anything you possibly can to get him down as fast as possible before his next bubble or land hands comes out. It may not always work, but it does work, at least for me, most of the time. And that's just kind of an example on how to fight paladins, for example. And I'm not sure if that really helps rotation wise. So the rotation kind of depends on who you fight, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'll try to give you guys my rotation again. I usually start with Touch of Death, and then I go into the Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, and then Blackout Kick, Tiger's Palm, and then Serenity, Strike of Windlord, and then Rising Sun Kick should be up, and then pop Blackout Kick into Fist of Fury. And most of the time they're usually dead by then, but if they're not, just keep doing your standard rotation from that. So get as much, keep your stacks up for hit combo, and try to get as many Fist of Fury stacks as you can for the extra damage, and so on and so forth. So I hope this helps you guys a little bit. Hopefully it helps you also fight the paladins. My tip actually helped you with the paladins. There's just, it really, like I said, the whole monk thing kind of depends on what you fight against. Because paladins can bubble. For DKs, you just gotta kite their Icebound Fortitude when they pop it. Immediately get the freaking heck out of there when they pop Icebound so they don't get the extra healing. That's for Frost DKs. Unholy DK, you gotta kite their Ghoul transfer ability. Or if it's low on health, kill it, I guess. That's pretty much the best way I could put it. Like I said, there's just tons of variables. I hope this helps you guys. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are, and if you have any questions. See you guys for the next video.